Hello everyone. Ajax PSV, KNVB-beker, bekerfinale, cup final. 1-1 after 120 minutes. PapiMento, we went into penalties and unfortunately we missed out on the cup, man. Another loss. It feels like a loss, a tough one. Trophyless this season, we know that for sure. We still have a chance for second place, but the way things are going, it's hard to see any positives, to be honest. At least that's my opinion. But of course, people are here for your opinion. So, Poppy, take it away, man. What did you think of the match? Starting 11, the first half, especially, a lot of riots and stuff going on. Second half, extra time, whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead.
I mean, look, when after we got trashed last time against PSV, I was very hesitant before coming into this game. Like, what kind of game is it going to be? Is Heitinga going to do something else? Well, he did. He tried Tadic on the midfield, tried to get more control over there, and he played with Brobbey. Which in the first half, I thought it was from both sides a lot of yelling and yelling at the ref, yelling at each other, fights. There was not a lot of football. I thought in the second half, the game got more energy, the game got better, and I thought we were actually the better team. If you look at the chances from Brobbey that he missed, we should have finished that, and that's why I'm gutted. I think we came back after a huge defeat. We came back pretty good with a more stable team. It's not the best team. Look, my grades are going to reflect that totally, but you know. We know what kind of team we have. We know the imbalance we have in the team. I thought this was one of the better Ajax sides I've seen in a while. I thought this was Brobbey's best game in a while. So I did see a lot of positives, but then you look at, okay, the chances Brobbey gets, he needs to get clinical. The difference we had today was Edson Alvarez cleaning up a lot. He's my man of the match. Great player, did a lot of good things today. I mean, I thought Ajax did everything they could with the team they had, and we came up short. But it is the story of the season, Juan. We're losing all the big games. Fun that you can win from the top, from the bottom of the league, but we're not winning any big games, and that's due to lack of quality. So, yeah, to be honest, my feeling right now, man, even though we lost, I had a feeling that would happen already. It's a bad loss, losing into penalties while you were the better in the game. So yeah, I feel bad actually for the team, and I feel gutted as well as just a fan. I hoped to win at least something this season, and the Ajax fan deserved a little bit more than what we have seen this season. So this could have lifted the spirits a little bit, but
Yeah.
actually, if you look at the football, it didn't really.
Yeah, you said we were the better team. I think you mean we had the better chances. That's also what you said. When you say,
Yeah, but also PSV being very reactive, Juan. I mean, all the chances they got is a mistake from our side. When we pass wrong, they get dangerous. And in years previously, we had so much quality on the ball that didn't happen so much. Now it's happening in every match. So yeah, that's below Ajax standards, if you ask me.
yeah, I was going there. You mentioned about quality. We lack quality this season. The team is imbalanced. What are you specifically referring to for our viewers, to be more exactly? I mean, in your view, what do we miss in this team?
I mean, look, from the back, the build-up is actually, especially in the first half. If you look at the first 20 minutes, it's just back passes and side passes and controlling actually the ball, but it's not really getting dangerous. We're not creating many chances. In the second half, a little bit more, but that's more because of Brobbey fighting his way through two defenders and holding the ball well and then creating from there. But the amount of long balls we're using in these matches, Juan, it's actually kind of crazy because that's not the Ajax way of playing whatsoever. And look, I don't mind it because we don't have so much quality, so you have to look for something else. So I like kind of the direct play, but this game it was constantly that, and we're not showing other ways of creating attack and build up from the back. So those are things that's the Ajax way, that's the Ajax DNA that should come back. And yeah, next season I expect a different Ajax because basically I'm rating them, but I know this team is not what it should be, So So yeah, got it, Juan. With the with how we are this season, with the players we brought in, with the lack of quality in this team. So yeah, I mean, Klaas is a perfect example of that. I thought he did okay, with his effort and stuff like that. But if you have a technical player there that knows how to play the zones and the free space there, and not to make the mistakes on the ball, you can create so many more chances and look more to attack than constantly looking to defend.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the midfield was an issue, but the thing is, I was also thinking, okay, Taylor is suspended, so he has to find a solution for that. He did play Grealish, who is supposedly, the one that builds up, brings football in the team. Didn't really have a chance to do that either. What other flavors does Heitinga have, on the bench? What else can he do, in your opinion? He's not going to put Vos in from the start in the final, That's not going to happen. So what else can he do?
Exactly. And that's the problem. We lack depth, but even the first starting 11 is not of the quality that we want. So, yeah, I don't blame Heitinga at all, Juan. For me, if you consider him to take over with a team that's not his for the remaining of the 6 months, I think you should give him the vote of confidence to have a transfer window, to set up his own team, and to show what he's capable of. Because that's an ex-Ajax player. That's Ajax DNA. You're not just going to put him back as an assistant coach. Maybe he will not even accept it. Maybe he will leave, So these are all things you have to consider. And I'd rather give him than, if there's not a better option, I would rather give him the option to create his own team, because I do see him doing things that are pretty good, bring in the youngsters, not being afraid to change things in the team when he knows last week it didn't go well, So at least he's trying to find solutions for a team that's not his. So you got to respect that, and that's why I haven't given up on Heitinga whatsoever yet.
All right. I have a slightly different opinion, to be very honest with you, but I'm not going to reflect all about it. The only thing I would say is that today, for the first time, I agree with you that this was a totally different Ajax than last week. So the reaction, the team got the message from the coach, got the message that they have to show a different type of game, fight for it. They did show that. So I'm not going to pretend that they didn't do that. But honestly, taking Grealish off and bringing Bassi in doesn't help the build-up play. And you already mentioned we started playing a lot of long balls, That's one of the things. Then the other thing, and you cannot entirely blame Heitinga for that, because he was not entirely the coach of the whole season. But the only players that were cramping up at this game were Ajax players. How is that possible? Why does it only Ajax players get cramped and cannot? Because of that, because I'm going to be very honest about that, some people will blame Heitinga for taking out Klaassen and Bergwijn and Berghuis, all these players. These are penalty players, penalty specialists. Usually they're good penalty takers. We missed out on penalties because we saw Alvarez, Timber, these kind of people taking penalties who are not natural penalty takers.
I know, Juan, but can you really blame Heitinga? I mean, yeah, he could have opted to wait to play them, but so they would be more useful later in the game. But you're not going to know from beginning of the game that it's going to become a penalty. These players played a full match and they were out. They didn't have the energy to play anymore. So what other options did you have?
I agree. I'm not fully blaming Heitinga on that, but an experienced manager always has on the back of his mind scenarios and what and that's in my opinion. I think that's
his inexperience yet, but he's doing also a lot of good things, Juan. And a young coach, he's not going to do everything right, but if you give him a chance, you have to give him a chance.
Yeah, but also what I wanted to allude to, apart from this match, you already touched upon it. Apart from winning the cup games against Twente and against Feyenoord, and we were not a better team against Feyenoord, we know this, but we still managed to go to the finals. We lost a lot of big games already with Heitinga. And again, I fully understand the situation. He's taking over a squad which is imbalanced, which is very hard, etc., etc. But we're not winning. We played PSV twice now. We didn't win. We played Feyenoord in the league. We didn't win. all those
But
big games.
in his defense, his defense, we lost against PSV that was without Alvarez, right? Kudus was injured. Wrench wasn't there. I mean, there are circumstances with this that you're like, okay, what? These are his best players, like Taylor not playing today, Kudus not playing today. Those are the flair makers within the team, and he's incapable of using them. So for me, it's not only looking at okay, he lost another big game. No, you have to also look at the context. Like he didn't have his best team. The team is already imbalanced, and he's missing his best players. So it's not going to make it easier for him.
I understand, but you're talking about recently or now. I'm talking about since he took over. Also, the Union Berlin game. If we take that into the equation as well. Again, I know it's hard. I will never blame Heitinga because he was asked to do something which is not good to do. It's very difficult to take over.
It is very difficult.
It is. I totally agree. But at the end of the day, if you're a manager, you're responsible also for the results.
I totally agree with that. And Juan, look, maybe Ajax isn't training anymore at the level we used to know Ajax was training at, because there was a period where the training was of such a high level that these players could play 90 minutes with ease. Like it was Champions League level training, But I think we're so far from that at the moment at Ajax that we shouldn't be able to expect that whatsoever.
All right. Look, last question, right? This is a blow. We missed out on the cup, even though the cup is not the most important thing. If you have to compare, second place is more important. But we lost to our direct competitor also for the second place spot, And what do you think, the remaining 4 games of the league? Do you think this will, transcend to the minds of the players? Or do you think, no, we're good enough to maybe turn things around in the remaining games that we have? We have AZ next, I think. We still have to play, I think, also Twente at the end. So we have a couple of tough games coming up. But what do you think? What's your feeling right now towards the end of the season?
My feeling is that AZ and Twente will be tough games either way. I think if we play them like we did today, we should be the winner. I'm hoping also we will be able to use Kudus and Taylor again, so our team will be the strongest 11 again, and I think we should be capable of winning those points. And look, I think the Ajax players should have some pride in what they showed today, because we all know the problems within the team, and still they made it very hard and actually should have been the winners today. It didn't work out with penalties, but if you look at the chances, especially in the second half, from Brobbey especially, we should have won that game. So I think if they look at it that way, the remaining of the games should be clear wins for us. And I just want to finish with Van der Sar out. He ruined our season, and I totally blame him for this.
All right. I said last question, but I always have one more question about Brobbey.
Sure.
Yeah, because this was the first time we saw Brobbey play, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, although he cramped up, but still, it's the first time we see progress in that sense. Apart from missing chances, missing the penalty, would you start him for the remaining of the season?
Yes, because the way he was playing and the energy he was throwing in, and he was 1 against 2 against the 2 defenders, Ramalho and who was the other one? Breathwaite, yeah. And I thought he did very well to keep the ball, to hold the ball, to fight his way in those positions. And he was actually pretty good in the link-up play as well, Juan. But as a striker, you have to be clinical, right? So that's something he has to work on, because one of those 2 chances would have given us the win today.